working group reports. We'll move to the hot seats with our, some of our founders. Amin is going to share the list, not necessarily in that order. So we may have a slightly different order, but like we have around 7, 8 founders. I'll be more cautious on the time this week. And then, of course, we have the mentor presentations. We have 3 very valuable mentors, quite experienced as well. They've been with us at least a couple of cohorts. So we'll hear from them as well from the different perspectives, specifically about customer development, and we will have Q&A. And based on the time, we'll again, like last week, spare some time to answer the questions within the Zoom. So a few reminders, like we mentioned last week, we expected dropouts. That's extremely normal. That's by design. So we know that you see few faces. We know that your working groups are also slightly less people. And behind the scenes, we were connecting with these folks, and then depending on the timing and availability, we may proposing to come later, or look into if they're right fit for the program as well. So if we identify there is an imbalance within the working groups, we'll probably update them within this week, and then we won't change it until the next change. I actually noticed that we, with Nathaniel and Fabrice, we put them in the same co-founders. It's supposed to be different, so we'll look into that. But that shouldn't impact anything about your assignments or other things. It's just like maybe reconnecting. Couple of questions we received about attending the sessions. Just to clarify, attending the weekly sessions is mandatory. The ones that we set up 6:30 p.m. Central European time, the invite coming from Amin. The others, some of them you see invites from the Founder Institute, global invites. These are not mandatory, but we highly suggest, if it is relevant to you, to attend. Working group sessions, obviously, this have that peer-to-peer suggested work is mandatory as well. So, and there are exceptions clearly. So work with your president to arrange the best time. Office hours, it's not mandatory, but this is one of the biggest value you get, using the network impact, getting the feedback from our mentors, getting their perspective. So I cannot highlight more, and I'm going to talk about it every week. Still, use the office hours. You will hear us asking our mentors what is the best way of approaching them, because not necessarily all of them in the internal tool of the office hours. So if you have any questions around that, feel free to put in chat. We'll be happy to answer even in the chat or later, basically. To talk about a couple of examples. Again, we're not going to go through all the assignments. I don't expect anyone to read what's on my screen. I just want to give a couple of examples of pretty strong interview documentation. Not sharing name, but like if you look at one example here, there are like over 300 interviewed potential customers, users, which is pretty good number. And obviously some of you in the growth track, some of you on the launch track, but these are the numbers you should be aiming in the long term as well. And the interviews and these discussions never end. It's not like this week or last week or next week. As of course, like incremental building, you have to continue with your user engagement discussions. And the other example, looking into the enrolling to the newsletter of the competitors. That's a pretty straightforward, easy, and pretty easy learning. So I highly encourage these kind of practices so you can learn where your competitors are going, what they are doing. Sometimes they send out surveys or product requests or features requests as well, so you can learn from those as well. One example about the problem statements, especially on the launch track. In the beginning, we asked to focus on multiple problems. Here, the customer problem is, even though solution might be the same, 3 different segments. Again, primary reason for that is like throughout the program and potentially later in the program, if you identify when you get stuck in one problem, one sector, one industry, you have some preliminary research on the other areas, potential problems or sectors as well. So consider that as a backup plan or potential pivot opportunities in the future. Another example, I'd like to highlight the unknowns and next steps. Obviously, you have so many assumptions, and these are only assumptions and unknowns. Here is a good example of like assigning action items to the team about like what can be done next to validate or disprove these assumptions as well. So be open to yourself. Your assumptions are only assumptions. The important thing is what are the next actions you're taking as well. And high-level projection, I think we had it in both cohorts. We haven't reviewed all the assignments yet, but like targeting 100 million or X amount of revenue. Here is a good projection. It's very high-level thinking, obviously, at this stage, but breaking into the monthly recurring revenue as well as the potential user count based on the revenue stream. We'll go more deeper in these in the coming weeks in the revenue streams or growth traction, etc. Please consider from day one that you may have a target, but like start thinking about working backwards from that about what it does mean for your user count, what does it mean your monthly revenue as well. So not so great examples. We have missing assignments. The snapshot is taking around an hour ago. So obviously we expect them to be delivered on time. So some of you already received some notes. If there was a missing assignment last week, we will continue sending those notifications. So without further ado, we will jump into the working group updates. Can we have, I'm just opening my president's sheet as well. Like which president, raise your hand. You're probably faster than me right now. Anyone? I see Aurelian raising hand. Go ahead.
Okay, so this first working group was a bit messy because we had a lot of people that weren't showing up at the meeting. So I had the occasion to discuss it with you already, Orkon. So basically, what we would like is that the next working session, which is on Monday, 6:30, will be much more followed by all of the members of the group. So that we can achieve higher goals together.
Thank you, Aurelian. And for everyone, yeah, if members are not able to attend or for a reason or not, please tag them within the system so we have that visibility, that missing sessions as well. Any questions or blocks from your team, Aurelian?
I don't think so. I know that Joost from my team has a specific question about this situation and regarding joining the Founding Labs. So I suppose it's ongoing for you. And as it was only Joost and me at the last session, I think that that's pretty all.
Cool. Yeah, we are having a chat with Joost. Black team?
Hello everyone, it's Corneliu speaking from Bucharest. We have agreed to have twice 1 hour online meeting on Mondays at 5 p.m. and on Wednesday at 5:30 CET. We had everybody attending the first one. It was just the 4 of us for the second one, and this is, I'm sure, linked to the fact that Ahmed, who was the 5th person, has withdrawn from the program. That's my understanding. Of course, having just 2 sessions so far, there is some, I think the group still need a little bit of time to find the best way to work together. What I'm thinking to do for the next week, to recommend a couple of topics from the customer development topic that we are discussing today. So we have the chance to discuss it and to exchange among the 4 of us before next session. And the other thing which already you mentioned, we have 2 of the 4 of us, Fabrice and Nathaniel, who are working on the same project. In one hand, it's interesting to have 2 complementary perspective from 2 founders on the same topic, but I understand that you are considering adjusting the group for in the near future. So that would be all for the Black group.
Thank you, Corneliu. Orange.
So we had 2 working meetings already last Friday, this Tuesday. The first one, of course, trying to figure out what do we supposed to do and how we approach it. So it was a bit of let's say introduction, and for the Tuesday we had one person out because the person of the sessions left the Founder Institute cohort, so the person dropped out, so we're down to 4. We try to use a bit more interactive way to structure the meeting. We used the Gather app to do the meeting, which was fun. And so if anyone knows or doesn't know, have a look. It's pretty cool and easy to use. And yeah, for now, the agenda is rolling. Basically, we don't have a set agenda. I ask everyone who wants to contribute something or has questions. And this time we discussed Artyom's topic. We give him a bit of feedback on his problem. And we discuss basically what is required from Founders Institute and how to approach office hours, what's the use should be done. Felix shared his experience because I believe he did it last year as well. So basically a bit of sharing.
Thank you, Sasha. And it would be great if you share the link of Gather. I used it many times for hackathons. That's pretty nice tool. Have a look for the others as well. And Purple Team?
Yes, thank you, Orkun. We have met once this week, and we're going to meet again this Friday. We have actually lost a few members. Eric has dropped out, as well as Tina. And we have not have any contact with Galina. However, with the Darren and Thomas, we still keep going. We had our session, gave us each other some feedback. Eric also gave him feedback just before he left, so it's going good. We have set up a WhatsApp chat, so we continue to help each other, sending links when needed. And yeah, so far everything is good. Nothing to complain.
Thank you very much, Ahmed. And last but not least, White Group.
Hello, everyone. I'm happy. I think we have met 3.5 hours this week already, so it's pretty good. And we are now 4 in our group, and we have 2 meetings every week, Monday and Tuesday evening. So everything is going pretty smoothly right now. It's good. Yeah. And we also have the WhatsApp group, which helps to give advices or name whatever interesting events. So we're, I think, on a good track in our group.
Thank you very much for the information, Arabella and all presidents. Moving to the next, which is the reminder of the dynamics of the hot seats before we start with the hot seats. Let me share my screen. I guess you can see the full presentation. And as a reminder, today we're still having 60 seconds without deck. So founders have 60 seconds for the pitch. Highlight the customer problem. What is the solution? Innovative and your secret sauce. What is the very high level business model? Of course, you can't go very much in detail. Why you can solve that, right? What is your experience background? What makes you qualified solving that? We're going to have around 3 minutes plus minus mentor feedback in total, one way, so we can get more pitches from you, so you can get more engagement as well. So there's no Q&A still. Again, just a reminder, we will continue increasing the duration, adding the deck, and having more in-depth Q&A sessions in the coming weeks. In terms of the ratings, we will ask our mentors to share the ratings and their feedback, when they are giving the feedback, basically, to remind 5 amazing, if I were going to invest, I'm ready to invest right now in your business. 4 pretty good, I'm actually very happy to already start advising you. Obviously, these are not binding comments, but like in the level of comments. There are no 3. There is no bias in terms of an average rating. 2 is unclear. There is something, but there is work to be done as well, to define some of the details. 1, at this stage, not clear what your problem is, not clear yet what your solution is. Basically, I'm not sure if I understand. Maybe pivot is too early because it's 60 seconds, but still the primary details are not there. Just looking at the mentors, I think you have the links. Thumbs up if you have the links. As a reminder, for our mentors, Benelux 2022, and your name, hot seats, not mentor idea review or mentor progress review, hot seats, and then you select the name of the founders. We'll talk about the names. But before that, of course, we would love to have a short intro for our mentors. We'll have their presentation, so more time to talk. But of course, before you get the feedback, we would love them to introduce themselves so you know who's giving the feedback. Elena, can we start with you for a short intro? I think we cannot hear you. Is it me?
No, we can't hear Elena.
Can you hear me? No?
Yeah.
Yes.
Good, excellent. Yeah. Hello. Hi. So, good evening. So, I'm very, very happy to see you in numbers. This is my second cohort. Who I am an executive business coach at the European Commission, and also I'm a lecturer. I love working with startups, and I feel very honored to be part of today's session.
Thank you so much. Itobo?
Hi, everyone. Am I audible? Awesome. My name is Ido, but everybody calls me ID. I have just a little bit of experience building startups. I'm currently building number 3. So feel free to think of me as your fellow shoulder-to-shoulder entrepreneur or startup founder. Any questions you have, most likely I may have gone through it. And if I went through the School of Hard Knocks, most likely you don't have to go through the School of Hard Knocks. So I'm happy to share. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, ID. And Philip? Philip, I can see your smiley face frozen, I guess. I don't know if you can hear us, but we don't hear you.
That looks
You
like
need to all. I do apologize for the quality of. I can hear you. I can hear you fine. Seriously?
Now we can hear you very choppy.
You
do not swear. We can hear you. It's choppy.
You are on live television. My connection is fine and I can hear you fine since earlier on.
It's fine now. We can hear you at the moment.
Fantastic. Thank you. Apologies for the quality of my voice. Just coming out of a cold. I'm Philip Grother. I've been mentoring on the Founder Institute for several years, more than I care to count now. So been through several cohorts, been an entrepreneur since 2015 in Luxembourg. And yeah, looking forward to seeing all of your good ideas. I've actually already had the pleasure of meeting some of you during the office hours. So looking forward to getting to know you.
Cool, fantastic. Thank you very much. And then let's get on. As a reminder for our founders, you will see my background. When you have 10 seconds, you will see my background changing into this flashy orange color. That means you have 10 seconds left, so better you finish your sentence or two. When it is red, you're done. If I realize you aren't done in 5 seconds, I'll stop you. I want to respect a little bit, but I also want to get the respect to finish on time as well. So we are starting with Hakan Gürel.
Hello?
Hey Hakan, I can hear you.
Hi there.
I don't
sorry,
see.
I'm joining you from a car, so so my connection could be really bad. So right, 60 seconds starting already.
Not yet. I'm going to give the cue ready, set, pitch, but we don't see. Are you able to turn on your video?
Not really, because I'm connecting from I'm working from my car office at the moment. I'm stuck in traffic, so I had to pull right and join the meeting.
Do you want to, what we can do, we can continue with the next, and then when you have the opportunity to turn on your video, we can have you. How does it sound?
All right. Okay, just give me a moment.
That's okay. We'll come back to you. We'll come back to you.
Good. Okay, good. Thanks.
Musa, You're the next lucky one. Am I missing Musa?
Hello.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
All right, Musa, I can hear you.
Yes.
So ready, set.
1 minute or six,
pitch.
6 seconds. 1 minute. I have 1 minute for pitch.
Yes.
Okay.
60 seconds, aka 1 minute. Ready, set, pitch.
Yes, my startup LeftEye is developing financial services for unbanked, unserved, and underserved people in West Africa by giving them the ability to increase their working capital or to address their urgent cash needed. By using artificial intelligence and machine learning, we build accurate financial scoring credits and targeted financial product for people without financial identity, collateral, or credit record. Since now we have financed more than 1,000 people with a month-of-month growth of 39% and a low credit risk default of 3%. This figure shows that we have a scalable business which can grow explosively and a capability to mitigate risk. Thank you a lot.
Thank you very much, Musa. Philip, shall we start with you?
Thank you. I'll try and not swear this time. So in every pitch, please start with a story, because you have been very factual, and because we're all interested in the fintech, we kind of get it. But the thing is that there are loads of companies out there solving exactly this problem, and what we want to know is what makes you unique and how you're going to differentiate yourself on the market, because you're not the first mover to this market. I'm sure you have the competences. By the way, very well done for the growth and very well done for the defaulting, but you need to tell us what makes you special.
Thank you, Philip. And your rating?
That'll be a 2 for the moment.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. If you can write in the chat, I think we're having some connection issues rating, and we can move to perhaps ID.
You're welcome. Hi, Kamara. Which one is it? Kamara? Okay. Yeah, well done on your pitch. If you remember at the beginning, Okun shared a slide that specifically mentioned what we're judging today's session by. So I'm going to take the gloves off. I'm going to emphasize, I won't bother repeating it, but I want to align by everything that Philip has said, but there's no point repeating it. I think that opening with a story helps your audience connect with you and makes them receptive to the hard numbers and facts that you want to start to share. Okay, but I don't want to belabor that. The last point in the earlier list of metrics by which we're measuring today's presentation, and you should think about this for the length of your duration. This is your second session. At this stage of the program, there are certain things that are expected from your pitch. By session 5, 6, 7, there are other things. By session 8, 9, 10, there are other things, okay? So at this level, we want to know what problem you are solving. So it is in your interest to paint a picture that the audience does not have a choice but want to lean into your story. That was glaringly missing in your pitch, okay? The solution is kind of straightforward because it's fintech, it's kind of straightforward. I know that you try to use AI and ML, artificial intelligence and machine learning as your secret sauce, rather than use technical terms, I would have used the benefits of those technical terms. Okay, that's another story for another day. We can go into details. Lastly, I thought that your pitch lacked emotion. It sounded like you were reading from somewhere. It lacked salesmanship. Do I think that you can run this business successfully? Obviously, because you already have traction. But did you come out and try to sell a story to me about your business? I missed that completely. For this reason, I'll give you a 2. I hope the points I've given are useful to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Heidi. Elena.
So I'm a bit new to the group, so that's why I don't know how well it was presented previously, right? To add to this excellent feedback that has been already given, I would say, the results are very, very impressive, right? But how big is the market? So you see, instead of I would just yeah, the emotions were in there. Obviously, the figures were very, very dry. But maybe if you demonstrate how big the market is, it would be more impressive. Because I mean, what's 1,000? What's 1,000 is for 1 billion. I mean, for 1 billion. So
yes. Could I answer, or I just listen to back?
No, at the moment we are just doing one-way feedback, Musa. So take the note. I think for all the founders, digest it, and it's up to you how to incorporate in your pitches. Elena, any other comments?
Not really. I think it's been really well covered by other members.
Sure. And what's your rating?
Actually, I rated 4.
Sure.
Actually, yes. Cool. 4.
4. Okay, sorry, 4.
Yeah.
And I know
actually,
Philip. Thank you very much, Elena, and thank you very much, Musa. I think we lost Philip while he's joining. I see he's joining again. And then I'll just give it a second. Wouter, we will have you next. But yeah, hang on as well. I'm just trying to see if Philip is joining on time so we can have him in the feedback as well. Philip, can you hear us?
We lost him again.
Okay, so we'll. Sorry for the technical glitches. Philip, can you hear us? That's okay. We'll have we can have Philip in the next bridge. What are you good? Cool. If you're ready, I see you're going from kitchen to somewhere else, so you let me know.
Cooking as well.
Ready, set, pitch.
So hi, my name is Wouter. I'm the founder of Your Desk. Working in a hybrid workplace means people have the ability to work from home, HQ, or any third location of their home. Nowadays, people want to work wherever they want, and managers want to bring people into the office to connect, work together, collaborate, culture, and productivity. Now, if it is not facilitated in the right way, culture and productivity is at risk. So what we're doing, my company, Your Desk, is developing a platform where people can stay connected within the hybrid workplace so that teams can, across different workplaces, can promote culture, collaboration, and productivity while having a positive impact on the environment by working at a workplace that is most time and efficient for them. We have a working product. We are live in the Netherlands in 15 cities with a marketplace where you can book meetings, desks, and workspaces.
I assume you're done. As a reminder for everyone, actually, if you're done, you can close it with just saying thank you. I don't know, Philip, you can hear me or us. I'll leave one feedback, which is, I know, very common feedback from you to you. But I would love to start with Elena. to get your feedback.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would certainly, yeah, well done, thank you. I would certainly focus on the USPs because the idea is not that new, right? And I bet there are a lot of competitors in the field. I would say that the USPs should be really spelled out very, very clearly. Otherwise, investors would lose interest straight away.
Thank you, Elena. And what's your rating?
You see, Walter is a very confident speaker, right? If I just rate him how confident he was and how well he spoken, I would rate him 4. If I rate the content, it's definitely a 2. It should be improved.
So I would take it as 2, given the what we are rating is the business and the startup generation as well. ID, can I get your feedback?
Thank you, Håkon. Hi, Walter. Good composure. It's clear that you are a very intelligent gentleman, and you've probably practiced this many times. Okay, so that came across very well. 2 major things that I noticed about your pitch. The first is you took the risky road of selling the solution to us and leaving us to figure out what problem your solution was solving. At the end of the day, well, you will get some mileage that way, but I would advise that going forward, you set the stage, right, for your solution by describing a problem that is irresistible to ignore. Just a tip, okay? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, I didn't hear much about the market potential of this solution. So I mean, after setting up this opportunity that looks good, I thought you would use the remaining time to talk about this looks like an X billion-dollar market that is growing 5% year on year and looks like it's going to be a sweet investment for the next 5 years. That would have been a lovely closing. Okay, so those are my 2 points. I'll give you a 2. Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. And Philip.
Let's risk it, shall we? I apologize for the quality of my connection. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Fabulous. Walter, one of the things when you have a pitch like that, clearly you're very confident. You told us a story. I do join what my fellow Håkon was referring to is if you have finished your pitch, when you finish your pitch, every single pitch, you told us a story, but you didn't give us a clear call to action at the end. So every presentation that you ever give, and this applies to everyone forever, please give a clear call to action. If there's one thing that you need, the one thing that will make us successful is A, B, or C. If there's just one thing, just tell us what that one thing is, because your audience wants to help. And here, we're here to help. So ask us for something. If you don't ask us for something, we can't give you something.
Thank you, Philip. And what's your rating?
Rating is a 2.
Thank you very much. And Walter, thank you very much. And just to open up a little bit or add up to what Philip mentioned, again, this is a safe environment, this is a closed environment, but our mentors are investors, our mentors are co-founders, our mentors are advisors. So if I were you, I would take every single feedback, call to action, they're users as well, obviously, very serious, because you don't know what is going to come out these sessions as well. As I called out last week as well, we had quite a good number of actually investment, advising, co-founding, etc. opportunities. So I would take it as if you're pitching for your audience with the aim as well. Of course, call to action plays a huge role on that. Next, we will have Fabrice.
Yes, hello.
Yes, Fabrice, if we can hear you well, if you're ready, set.
Yes. Good Go. During the past decade, we have witnessed the rising of business processes that span across organization. We met, for example, many sales managers in B2B2C kind of industries having difficulties to share leads with independent brokers and follow up the conversion of those leads into contracts. And sometimes they found out that the leads were sold to their competitors. The current solution that we have based on centralized database do not allow this kind of tracking simply because they are silos, they are walls that prevent that amongst organizations. Leaders are well aware that Web3 and decentralized solutions are well suited for such kind of business, but it's really difficult to implement this. We are proposing Ulalu, a no-code SaaS blockchain platform to enable organizations to exchange data securely without any need of system integration. We are now building our MVP.
Fabrice, thank you very much. Sorry, I have to stop you because we are going pretty over time. And I think it's a good way to practice to be on time as well, because again, while it's safe environment, you will not have this same in other investment pitches as well. ID, can we start with you?
Thank you, Orkun. Hi, Fabrice. So, I mean, the first point I was going to say is exactly what Orkun just said. It only comes by practice, you know. So as you go through the program, you are going to discover that there is a sense of intuition as to knowing what to highlight and what to forget about when you only have 60 seconds or 1 minute. In opportunities where you have 3 minutes, there are certain things to keep in mind and deliver. In opportunities where you have 5 minutes, there are certain things to keep in mind and deliver. It's like muscle memory. You can't cram it. You must practice it. Practice is the way to get by the timing problem that you just experienced. Practice, practice, practice. There's no shortcut. There were a lot of structural things that were wrong with it. I thought your approach of drawing in the audience with a story was commendable. However, that story failed to connect with me. I hope I am the only one, you know, there are quite a number of people on this call, but I didn't quite get what the point of that story, even though it cost you a lot in terms of time. Your solution, obviously you didn't have enough time to even describe your solution. We're just about to describe it before the time ran out, so I can't even give comments on that. And the third metric, the market potential, I have nothing to comment on. Again, it's a 2 for me. I hope you will do better in subsequent pitches. Thank you.
Okay. Elena?
Thank you so much for the presentation, for the pitch. Well, I think you've been lost in the product description, and I think we haven't heard. Unfortunately, I don't know whether you've timed your pitch. I'm afraid we haven't heard about pain and gains, about the customer traction, about the business model was unique. So I think it needs to be really, really, really reflected upon the feedback, and then this exercise has to be redone.
Thank you, Elena. And what's your rating?
Though I would say 1, but I really, really enjoyed one bit, which was excellent, is in storytelling. It's just that unfortunately the pitch is not the place where you can tell your story far too long. It has to be very, very sharp. It has to be very, very bold. It has to be straight to the point. Just grasp the attention and just thrive on the attention that you've taken. 1, I'm afraid.
Philip.
So, to everyone, you've got 10 to 15 seconds to grab our attention and get us to that aha moment. This is not a 2-hour movie where you come to the point. You need to get to the point within the first 5 to 10 seconds. And as we'll see later on, you can't be everything to everyone. So it's exactly for who this is for. And there will be some people in the audience, and that's true, that won't connect. Those that connect, they will get it. So get your audience to the aha moment as soon as possible within 5 to 10 seconds. My rating is a
I missed it, Philip. Just lost this too. Cool. Now we, Fabrice, thank you very much. We are moving to Hakan to check his connection and video now.
Hello, everyone. Sorry
Yes,
for the poor quality.
I think it's pretty good, actually, better than my currently pixelating video. So, and we can hear you well. If you're ready, set, pitch.
Celine, female, 7 years old, speaks 4 languages, learning her 5th. Listens to classical music, plays chess. According to the World Economic Forum, at the current pace, North America and Europe will close the gender gap the earliest by 2082, when Celine will be 67, having been discriminated against throughout her entire career. Stellify is determined to significantly accelerate gender equality and inclusion in the next 2 decades. William Gibson famously said, "The future is already here, it's just not very evenly distributed." Stellify decentralizes talent sourcing to disperse biases in hiring. Think Airbnb for diverse talent sourcing through a novel combination of game theory, circle of trust, and human-computer synthesis. Word-of-mouth referrals incentivized by participation, and success bonuses in Bitcoin assisted by AI while preserving privacy. Stellify brings a couple of thousand people together within a competition framework for each job opportunity. It's a new form of crypto economic network. Thank you. Let's close the gender gap.
Thank you very much, Hakan. Elena, can we start with you?
I think it's yeah, thank you so much, Hakan. It's been beautifully structured, and then I think rehearsed well. I just, you see, my question is, what is it? I'm very sorry.
It is yes. So I have actually a better one.
There's no
yeah,
feedback.
I think it's you see the product description. I said, what does it do? What are these USPs? I mean, this is, I think, would be my feedback. To be very, very clear on this. Beautiful storytelling, and then short, very clear sentences. And you definitely grasped my attention. But I would work more on the product description, what it is and what are the benefits. That's my feedback.
Thank you very much, Elena. And your rating?
Oh, if Hakan fixes the product description, I think, and the benefits, that would be 4.
Thank you. Yeah. Philip?
I don't actually think you could have put more buzzwords into 60 seconds. My rating is a 2, not for the delivery. The delivery was very, very good. Yeah. The issue is that it's too much buzzword, not enough simple story. Just keep it super simple. We understand you're trying to close the gender gap. Very good. But just make it simple. You don't actually have to bombard everybody in 60 seconds with as many buzzwords as possible. Okay. What I said earlier on about get us to the aha moment, your audience wants to feel intelligent. And by inserting as many buzzwords as possible into 60 seconds, you do the opposite. You make us feel stupid because we didn't understand 100% of what you said. And like Elena said, what does it do? I happen to understand bits and pieces so I can put it together, but I won't pretend to understand everything that you do. So the point of a 60-second pitch is to give me the opportunity to want to know more. My rating, as I said, is a 2 because you made me feel a bit stupid. And don't worry, you don't have to take that personally. We'll work on that together, okay?
Thank you very much, Philip. ID?
Thank you very much, Philip and Elena. You're taking many of the points I wanted to say. I'd just like to add that the points about keeping in mind what is relevant for a 60-second pitch, and knowing that, look, I have only 60 seconds, I will just drop the following points: problem statement, solution description, and market potential, okay? And those will, if I deliver them well enough, will elicit interest from my audience. Oh, that sounds interesting. I don't have time now, but here's my card, or, let's have coffee, something like that. So that intuition to know what to deliver for a 60-second pitch, what to leave out, I think is what Philip went to town talking about. So two things therefore stand out riding on the last point. The problem statement ended up being rather fuzzy, okay? So at the beginning, you spoke about gender, closing the gender gap. Somewhere near the end, you spoke about talent marketplace. I didn't, that was a bit confusing. And the third and the last point, the last point about that is, remember that in a 60-second pitch, you want to deliver 3 key bits of information: what's your problem, what's your solution, and what's the market potential. That last point about, the buzzwords, the last, sentence, the last few words, I would have spent that bit of time just teasing at the potential that the market you are targeting, represents for an investor. So those are my points, 2 for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Heidi, and thank you very much, Hakan, for the pitch. Just maybe one comment in general again, what Elena mentioned about sometimes not understanding, hey, what is the product? 1 or 2 words make it super clear. You may say mobile app, you may say a marketplace, you may say a platform. Some keywords make it clearer, at least to paint that picture. Again, not necessarily in this example, but overall. Next, we'll have Elena.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear, Elena. Ready?
Ready.
Set, pitch.
1/3 of world's food production is wasted. Food waste has a huge environmental impact. Especially now in the Balkans, there are many people who are suffering from hunger, and there are many people who cannot afford basic food because the inflation is growing and the food is increasing. On the other hand, a lot of food is wasted because of expiration rate. My solution will create a platform which is dominantly destined for the Balkan countries, as an MVP in Macedonia first, then to Serbia, Kosovo, and Albania, where distributors can place their food which is near the expiration date, and thus provide discounts for the people who can buy these products from there. There are many customers which are interested in these solutions. This is a market of around 12 million people, and I think that this is the proper solution to develop. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Elena. Philip, can we start with you? Or I think, not sure if you're ready. Heidi, can we start with you?
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, Elena. So, quick note to the general house, to the house. This is a trend that happens in every panel, every pitch competition. The people who present later learn the lessons from the jabs that we give to the people who present earlier. So, I don't know if it's coincidence or if, Elena is a fast learner, but obviously I liked the intro, right? She drew us in, by painting a picture of food wastage, where there shouldn't be, in the first place. She described a solution to that sounds like a reasonable, way to address that problem. And she gave us some insights into the marketplace. After that kind of 60-second pitch, I would definitely want to know more. So I'm going to give her a 4. One note of caution, though, of course, in our follow-on conversations, I would like to know more about your USP. Now, it's a big problem, it's a good solution, but it doesn't sound like it has a lot of defensive moats around it, but that's a discussion for officers or later. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Heidi. Philip.
Yep. This time I am online. So yes, well done for the pitch. However, the fundamental idea of close to expiration dates is an issue that you'll find is appealing for a tiny part of the population, because they want to eat good food. They might have issues sourcing food, but the thing is that as long as we maintain them as quote unquote underprivileged, they will carry on being underprivileged. The fundamental storytelling part, I understand. I would honestly actually challenge the idea. I know that that's not exactly the point here, but in the comments, Oleg actually put F4A, which is Food for All, very well known in Luxembourg. I recommend that you go and see what they have done, because you will find that even they are currently pivoting, because it's an incredibly difficult market and difficult sell. The other thing as well is going to be the reliability of the sourcing, because that's the whole point. It's unpredictable. So I think that there's something there, and I understand the sentiment, and I apologize for taking so long. I understand the sentiment, but there are a whole raft of issues with the fundamental idea, which we can speak about during office hours if you want. But I do suggest that you reach out to Ilana De Villers from Food for All, f4a.com, and I think you will find that fundamentally you need to revisit the idea, and I'm sure you've got a huge amount of them. But for the storytelling part, excellent. What I would have liked to have heard at the end is a call to action, what it is that you actually need, what it is that you're actually looking for. So yeah, thank you very much. My rating will be a 2.
And Elena? Elena, the other Elena.
Elena, thank you so much. So structurally, I think everything was, the pitch was well structured. So I would say the call for action was missing in the end. And then I think what could have been better is to really underline what is unique, the USPs, what's unique in your business model and your innovation, right? And then content-wise, I would certainly try to uplift the USPs, because otherwise the investors might think, okay, it's another charitable organization trying to collect everything and to redistribute, as what Philip was trying, I think, to say. That is very hard sell, very hard to do. So thank you so much. I would give 4 actually. I don't know whether I'm too generous, I don't know, but I think well done.
Thank you very much, Elena, and thank you very much,
That's
Elena.
because of the name, I guess.
Next, we will have Thomas.
Hi. If I may, can I try maybe something a bit different that what has been done before? Basically, can I maybe share my screen? I would like to test something new with you.
Is it going to take more than 60 seconds?
No, it won't.
Let's do that. If you're ready, well, start sharing, and then I'll start right away.
Okay, I just need like to have the.
Is it a deck? If that's
No.
a deck, I'm going to stop. Okay.
No. I just need to have the ability to from the administrator to share it. Perfect. Okay.
CNERD is an app and website which solves the movie and series night dilemma. Today, choosing something to watch has become a real pain. You endlessly scroll through several streaming services. You receive inaccurate recommendations, randomly watch trailers and check reviews. It is also difficult to find compatibility when choosing with someone else. CNERD is here to help you find what to watch, where to watch it, and with whom. CNERD is building a personal algorithm powered by a new reviewing system that will know exactly what type of cinema lover you are. You will be able to combine all your streaming services in one place. Then, to match people regarding their tastes, we have put in place a matching system where you will be able to find compatibility. Finally, we are focusing on gamification to keep you entertained while using the app. Our ambition with CNERD is to become the place of reference in movie, series, and theater recommendations. We want to solve this frustrating and time-consuming issue of choosing what to watch, whether alone or with someone. We are advocator, companion and educator, matchmaker, playfully, trustworthy, innovator. CNERD is your next movie and series companion you ever needed. Feel free to visit our landing page at www.cnerd.com.
Okay, if I won't share any comments. If I knew it was going to be a pitch, probably I would say no, but I will start with Philip.
Yeah, well, you get a 1 because the whole point is the pitch. The thing is that there's not much to say really, because you didn't actually deliver anything yourself. So I felt like I spent 1 minute on TikTok because you used the same voice. Yeah, no, don't do that again, because otherwise you'll just get a 1 from me.
Thank you, Philip. Heidi?
All right. Hi, Thomas. To echo Philip, the purpose, right, for this in-person pitches is to practice a lot of things. The mental work of picking what to say and to which degree to emphasize each of those points. That's part of the practice. The ability to keep your senses about you, your wits about you, and know that, look, time is going. I probably have 5 seconds to go. Let me cut this short and emphasize this. All those skills. The practice for that popular saying, elevator pitch, you never know. You may be on vacation somewhere in a city that is not your native city around the world, and you press the elevator button and you see the president of Greylock Partners or something like that, right? At that point, you're not going to be able to bring out your technology and show a pre-recorded, voice-toned, optimized pitch. Okay, so I'm sure that so I'm sure that point is not lost on you. Please try and work on that. So if I were to even analyze that pitch, I got a great problem statement. I'm not sure that I got a great solution description. It sounded like there was a lot of buzzwords, like the other gentleman, that pitched earlier. And then the third point about the market potential, I didn't hear anything about that. So even I would have given it a 2, but because it was not in person, I'll give it a 1. Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. And Elena?
Well, I think it was pretty creative, but it wasn't a pitch. This is the whole point. It was very, very good, super interesting. Actually, I enjoyed the power of the picture, but it wasn't a pitch. If I look structurally, it's not there, and I'm afraid content-wise, it's not there either. Though it was super interesting. Thank you so much. I don't know. I think most probably 1, because I still, if you look at the content, maybe just a bit. Yeah, 1.
Thank you, Elena. And Thomas, thanks actually for trying. As I mentioned last week as well, for everyone, this is a safe place. I think we established the boundaries because of the format and everything. But I really encourage everyone to actually try and fail here as well. Like Thomas tried something different than he mentioned, because the reason we are calling it safe place is you fail here once, you fail here twice, you get very harsh feedback, but we ensure when you're in front of some of the other venues, you don't make that mistake, because you can fail here, but you don't fail the other place. So I actually thank you, Thomas. I would, as I said, if I knew it was going to be a video pitch, I wouldn't probably let, but I actually thank you for trying. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Next, we have Sasha, as known as Alexander in the name here for our mentors.
Can you hear me well? No echo, everything's fine?
Everything is fine. So ready, set, pitch.
Hey, Meet Andrew. He's 35, married with kids, lives in Luxembourg, and has a decent salary. Or does he? With the rising cost of living in recent months, Andrew finds his utility bills going up 5 times, eating out disposable income. My name is Sasha, and my company, Let's Compare, building a price comparison platform to help households in Europe save money and time on their utility bills by helping them to find a better deal using automation. At this moment, there's no pan-European solution, and all players operate within their domestic markets. To name a few examples, people in UK might know GoCompare, in Netherlands, Independer, and Check24 in Germany. At this moment, we have a live MVP for Luxembourgish market focusing on telecom services. We're working to introduce more categories for comparison and build an app to help people like Andrew automate the boring stuff. Because life is too short for overpriced plans. Let's compare. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sasha. Heidi, can we start with you?
Yes, we can. Thank you for a good, again, the people who preach later, benefit from all the feedback that's been given. So I saw effort being put into framing the problem right so that we can all then buy into your proposed solution. So perhaps I'm not qualified to give a judgment call as to the psychology of the average Netherlands resident, right? The average person that lives in Amsterdam, and say that this sounds like it won't be a priority to them. Or if I were to measure the pain meter, this would be a 2/10 versus a 7/10, okay? But that's something for you to think about, and we can discuss that later. So the problem statement, the problem framing, I liked it. The solution statement, pretty obvious, so that's okay. I think that maybe in a follow-on conversation, you want to keep in mind that, hey, I need to be ready to answer what's my secret sauce, what makes my solution unique and better than all of the competition. And thirdly, for the first time, well, the second time today, I heard a couple of things about the market that gives me confidence that this person is not living in a bubble. Okay, so you spoke about your competition. That tells me that you are balanced and self-aware enough to not live in your idea, in the world of your idea. So that's very good. You didn't say, there are 6 million users and this will grow to 8 million in the next year and 12 million. That would have been really, really, really smoking gun and really, really nice. But, at least, you get the points for that. So I'll give you a 4. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Heidi. Elena?
You see, structurally, okay, Alexander, thank you so much for the pitch. I think structurally it was almost perfect. It was a very well clear pitch. But content-wise, I would really challenge you in terms of what's unique. And I love that you build this rapport. We say at the beginning of the pitch, saying yes, like we all experienced it, we all need it. So this is my solution. But what's unique? There are some. I live in Belgium, right? I live in Brussels, and there are many very, very similar platforms already exist. What can you do better? I think it should be very, very clear. I would give 4. Thank you. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Elena. Philip?
So you'll get 4 from all 3 of us, apparently. So the pitch was well delivered. The story is well told. You build rapport with the audience. You make it relatable. So very good. The fact that you're saying this exists in other markets, that's great. Again, how often are you going to use this? Because one of the big issues with these kinds of things is your users are only going to use it once, really, from time to time. If there is something that is going to make me want to come back again and again and put all of my subscriptions on there, so that you can be the ones doing all the comparing, and you really will find me the best deal always. The thing is that there's also the cost of switching. Now, that being said, that aside, again, there was no call to action at the end. How can your audience help you? And I'll bang on about this for all of you. If you get to the end of your pitch and you've just delivered information, okay, great. What do I do from here? I mean, you didn't even tell us to come to website, but more specifically, when you're in this kind of situation, you want to say, and what I'm looking for to make this a success is, what I'm looking for is X. Okay, so well done. And I'm sure that your pitch is only going to get better and better.
Thank you very much, Philip. And then we will have, last but not least, Felix.
Yes.
Okay, I think here, can you say another word? Just to check your microphone.
Hey guys, hello everyone.
I can hear you. Felix, ready, set, pitch.
Hello everyone. I have a couple of years of experience as DevSecOps and another couple as a white hat hacker contractor. All of my clients have had one point in common, the crippling cybersecurity talent shortage. Even if they wanted to, they couldn't hire a competent in-house security team. To work around this, they are using multiple questionable quality security tools that often overlap or miss specific areas entirely. I knew I needed to do something about this. Once again, I'm Felix Nagy, and I'm a company, HackerDD.io, is providing preventive cybersecurity as a service to help enterprises, especially small and medium-sized businesses, without a dedicated security team, to secure themselves with our state-of-the-art attack simulation tools. We offer simple feature-based tiers for monthly and yearly subscriptions that automatically fix all the different security issues before the bad guys can use them. Let's make the world just a bit safer every day. Thank you.
On purpose, I waited at the 10-second mark. You had another 10, actually 12, 13 seconds. So, Philip, can we start with you?
Yeah. So that was it was a good pitch, but we really had to hang on because you banged through it at such a pace. The thing is that you were reading a pre-prepared text and you went so fast through it and you didn't articulate. I must admit, I'm a bit hard of hearing, maybe, but because you didn't take your time and articulate, if you had taken the 60 seconds, even if you had said exactly the same thing, just slower and clearer, a lot more people in the audience would have understood what it is that you do. So even if you are going to read a pitch, it's okay because it's a crutch. What I would recommend is that you move away from reading verbatim and that you get comfortable with delivering your pitch. Okay. So I understand cybersecurity. The thing is that it's super, super hot. It would be good for you to tell us the story of one of your clients and how you saved or your environment saved them just by, if you're aiming at small and medium companies, then just tell us that story, because we understand that there's a shortage, we understand that it's necessary, etc., etc. Again, just make it super accessible. And if you are going to say the same pitch, just slow down, take the 60 seconds and articulate. You get a 4 because essentially it was there, but we can work on your pitch for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Philip. Elena?
Yeah, thank you so much, Felix. I struggled to understand because it was far too fast in delivery. So for me, I mean, I grasped just a few key words, but for the rest, I think everything was just crumbled. So I cannot give 4 because I do.
Thank you very much, Elena. ID?
Hi, Felix. I think I have an idea what just happened. This is one way, so you can't give feedback, but are you an engineer? Just nod if you are. You're an engineer, right? This is the classic engineer's dilemma. I know because I used to be an engineer and I managed to hack my brain from that of an engineer into, that of someone who knows how to speak boardroom gibberish. This is a salesmanship problem. When you connected with me on LinkedIn earlier, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I read the profile. I'm already in love with what you're building. However, your delivery right now was, I'm sorry to say, I'm going to be as blunt as possible, really, really poor, okay? And this is a salesmanship. So Philip tried to, tease out those elements of salesmanship, pace yourself, make sure you articulate, make sure you are observing your audience to even further pace yourself, but those are things that we can work on. So what you need is either dedicated sales coaching or find a co-founder who is an excellent sales beast, okay? Someone who can sell anything to anybody, okay? So, but my rating is going to be a 2, even though I love the idea, but this was really, really, you have a lot of work to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Felix, and thank you very much, ID, and all mentors and all the pitches. I know we couldn't have all of you. I'm sorry for that. We just need to get in the time and respect the time as well. Promise we have next week and coming weeks, of course, more pitches coming in. So just looking at the time, shall we take quick 5 minutes bio break and thumbs up, thumbs down before we kick off with the presentation? Okay, I see so many thumbs up. And then we'll start with the ID presentation. Please keep your turn off your screen microphone, but connection on so you can easily join again. We're back at 50 past, 7:50 past CET.
Yep.
All right, let's see who's here. It's exactly 7:50 CET. All right. Sir, ID, over to you. You're mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, and one thing, and I'm going to ask all the mentors as well. I kind of know the answer, but just to ask, within the presentation and beginning, if you can share what is the best way, best channel for our founders to reach you to get your time in the office hours and everything, that would be super helpful. Over to you.
Awesome, thank you. Please let me know when you can see my screen. Okay. Awesome. Hi, everyone. I just have a few thoughts to share about customer development. I will start with a story. Okay. Has anyone here, could you just raise your hand? Has anyone here ever been to Lagos, Nigeria? Anyone? No hands. Okay, so this might be a short intro to Lagos. I'm going to start with a story and we'll take a lot of lessons from that story. What you see in that image are the predominant mode of mass transportation, mass transit in Lagos. I live in Lagos, lived all my life in Lagos, grew up here. And this yellow bus is in local parlance called the Danfo bus. The Danfo is a public mass transit vehicle that transports about 16 to 18 people on a single trip. And this gentleman that is standing, by the bus is the driver, the owner of this bus. So every bus has a driver and an assistant. That assistant is called a conductor, just like in the trains, and buses in Europe. The conductor is the one bent over trying to do something, near the base, if you can see where my mouse is. Now, this is my story. I just got back to Lagos from an 18-month MBA last month. My MBA was at Harvard, where I obtained a double honors degree in innovation and entrepreneurship studies. Okay, so in summary, I have been, as it were, equipped, armed with the world-class, vetted, trusted, tried tools for designing innovations. My ability to design innovative solutions to problems is not in doubt. I just got back from one of the best schools in the world, and I have those tools. However, over the last month, I have been kind of bored. I've just been scanning. I just got back into town. Lagos is my hometown. I grew up here. I'm really, really thinking, what problem could I really, 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 settle upon in this town that would be worth my time, my attention, my energy? And so I've been scanning all over town. I've been going out. I've been talking to people, but nothing has really hit a strong chord with me. And so something happened yesterday. As I was driving around town yesterday, I came across this exact situation that is captured in this picture. The situation that you're looking at, as I saw that situation, I suddenly remembered that 30-something years ago when I was a kid, this exact situation happened. There was a situation. It so happens that Danfo drivers are notorious for running out of fuel mid-journey, okay? And I suddenly, the moment I was driving in my Lexus or in my BMW, and I saw this situation right beside me, and I remembered, oh my God, this has existed for almost 40 years, probably even before I was born. There must be something about this solution. I want to tackle this problem. At this point, I have two options, and I'd like you to pay attention here because I'm going to ask a question. At this point, I have two options. Option one, option A, I can wear my suit and tie, resume at the office the next morning, open up my flip charts and my electronic whiteboard, ask one of my team members to go and get research about the bottom of the pyramid, the downfall drivers in Lagos, maybe from statista.org or from worldbank.org or from, some database, find me data about them, tell me that they earn $600 per month, $30 per day, give me all of that statistics about them, give me their share of wallet, the $30 per day that they are making, how much are they spending, how much is available. I can immediately dive into the solution after observing the problem remotely. That's option one. Please keep that in your left hand. That's option one, okay? Or option two, I can take a different approach, throw away my shirt and tie, my official gear, wear a t-shirt and jeans, and go and meet this gentleman and tell him, dear sir, I would like to resume with you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. when you are embarking on your first of 8 to 10 trips between Ikeja and, between the mainland and the island. In Lagos, there's two major areas. There's the mainland and the island, okay? So this gentleman traverses two of those, those two locations about 8 times every day. I proposed to him, dear sir, I am going to pay for the 2 front seats in your bus because I want to sit right beside you. However, I'm going to be a fly on your wall. Forget that I exist and just be yourself. I then go in with my pen and my paper, and as Baba Moshood, that's his name, as Baba Moshood, starts the first journey of the day and says his prayers under his breath and embarks on that journey, I am making certain observations. As he takes his vehicle to the fuel station and buys just a quarter tank or a half tank, I'm making certain observations. As he moves from there and goes to the destination and comes back, on his way back, just look at the state of this vehicle, and you can make your conclusions. As he's coming back, he happens to run into a squad of traffic enforcers. In Lagos, we call them road safety or VIO. He runs into them, and from the distance, he curses under his breath and he says, oh, these devils are in my way. I make sure that I record those words and those reactions, those emotional reactions, verbatim on my jotter. Okay, I'm going to use those things later. Now, I do this exercise. I pay for those seats, those 2 front seats, for the whole of 4 weeks, maybe 2 to 4 weeks. And I come away with a full jotter of observations about the world of Baba Moshood, the gentleman who has been experiencing this problem for the past 40-something years, okay? So approach one was that I observed the problem, and I went to my office the next day and I started to get data remotely without any interaction, and I jumped into the solution. Option two is that I deliberately suppressed my world-class tools for building innovations, not in doubt, but I suppressed them just for the moment and immersed myself into the world of this downfall driver, okay? Now, I'm going to ask a question. Please reply in the chat section. Between option one and option two, approach one and approach two, which one do you think will help you build a solution or a product or a digital product, a startup that, that the Founder Institute is helping you try to build? Can I have the answers, please? Chat. Oh, I have. Oh, you guys are fast. Okay. So I see a lot of two. Who's the contrarian here? Okay. Once in a while, I get to see 1 or 2 contrarians. Okay. So option two. Just for, I'm sure that all of you are familiar with the term design thinking. I like to use this story to explain to the laymen and women, to lay people, that option two is the informal definition of design thinking. Option two is what solution developers do. Design thinking is what solution developers do when they deliberately suppress their world-class, undeniable knowledge and skill set and, smartness, and just suppress it and try to immerse themselves into the lives of their customers so that they can get a sense for that customer's worldview, a sense of priority among all the problems in Baba Moshood's life. This problem of a bus stopping midway because of lack of fuel, because it ran out of fuel, is it important to the passenger or is it important to the driver? Is it critical for the passenger or important for the, critical for the driver? These two approaches, ladies and gentlemen, you can think of it as an intro, a primer to design thinking and by extension, customer development. Okay, having laid that foundation, and I know that I've used 10 minutes. I'm going to try and round up in the next few minutes. Let's just run through all of this quickly. I like to define customer development. So I have a three W's technique here. We're going to look at the who, the what, and the why. In summary, customer development is an approach to help validate that what you intend to build will matter to the people for whom you are building it. All smart people, and if you had met me 10 years ago when I was building my first startup, you would have, you would be surprised, at the difference. I was that guy that was willing to, express the smartness and the intelligence. But there is a case for suppressing that smartness under the validation that the customer will actually care about what you are building. And that's what customer development is all about. Okay, so it's a process that can be used to discover, test, and validate assumptions about your business. Okay, you don't want to, and then we'll go to that. So we can speak about all of this. Now, there's something called there's something called a customer development manifesto. It's a publicly available document or artifact. You can find it out on the build, on the internet. But I just want to touch on two key things. Number one, the first one there says there are no facts inside your building. And as I just explained, option one is I am comfortable in my building. There's air condition, and I have all the tools and gadgets. I'm comfortable. I can stay there and make assumptions. Or option two, I can get out of my building and go and interact with real human beings. Number 5 there, no business plan survives first customers with contact. Every business plan is obsolete on day one. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. I can send you the deck and you can research on that, later on. Why should you invest in customer development? Customer development saves you from the regrets at a later time of investing vital capital that you built up in the wrong direction. So that if we had used approach 1 to build a solution for my downfall driver, Baba Moshood, if we had used that approach, we could have built a solution that we could have built a solution that will win an award in a pitch panel. But it's the kind of solution that when I deploy it onto Baba Moshood's phone, he will use it once and he will never come back to it. Okay, so, and you always want to remember that capital is more than cash. Capital is your social capital, relationships, and access to people and resources. You don't want to waste those, you don't want to squander those resources and that capital in directions that your customer will ignore, and so on and so forth. I'll send you the slides. Now, I have a 3-step breakdown of the how of customer development. It's 3 simple steps. Validate that the customer is worth building for. Number 2, validate that when you finally understand that in a particular customer's worldview, there are 100 problems. This problem that I had highlighted that I wanted to solve, is it number 2 or is it number 99? So you want to know that, is this problem valid for the chosen customer or not? And number 3, you want to validate that the version of solution that you are proposing is something that the customer would love. So that takes a few steps. The key steps for number 1 are to build your persona. A persona is a high resolution image of that customer that you want to serve. And then so I was talking about taking notes, biro and paper earlier. When I come back from that 4-week exercise and I come back to my office, I'm going to use those things to build something called an empathy map. An empathy map helps me document all of those things and see the trends around the situations and problems and scenarios that Baba Moshood or my downfall driver will instinctively respond to, so that I know where to divert my resources. On to the second point. For problem validation, There's so many things that you can use, but interviews, surveys, reliable data sources, and so on and so forth. Now, just to drill into I'm on the second to the last slide now. Just to drill into the problem validation here, it's a cyclic process. So the first thing is that you want to establish with your customer, dear customer, I noticed that you have the following problems. On a scale of 1 to 10, how is this problem of your boss running out of fuel? How would you rate it? Is it a 1 or a 10 over 10? Is it a 1 over 10 or a 10 over 10? Okay. And he will tell me that, oh, that problem is actually is a 2 over 10. However, I have another particular problem that is a 9 over 10 or a 10 over 10. Okay. And then I can say, please can you tell me that problem, and we can start to get to work. Now, you take that feedback away and you try to propose some kind of thing. Now, a prototype is a low-cost, dummy, lifeless version. So you build something without spending too much resources that answers that problem, and then bring that low-cost prototype back to him. That's number 4. How do you feel about this potential solution to your problem? Okay, and then after that, you can, iterate on that until you find something that the customer literally says, oh, where have you been all my life? Will you take my money right now? And then you tell the customer, oh, dear customer, we're not going to be ready in another 6 months. The customer says, I know you won't be ready in 6 months, but I need you to take my money right now because I am so sold on this solution. That is the Holy Grail. I know that Okun is about to stop me. And the last one there is solution validation. There are a few techniques. We can discuss this in office hours, and I know that you are soon going to get to something. It's in the FI curriculum. It's called the rule of 1. Solve one problem for one customer with one product, offering one killer feature and one revenue stream. You'll discuss that in later details. Perhaps your best friend is going to be the business model canvas. Okay. There's prototyping and there's T-shaped solution design. I'm going to stop there now. Thank you for your time. Thank you for tolerating me. That is customer development. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ID. Truly appreciate it. And for the Q&A for everyone, just to remind, we will have the Q&A at the end with all our mentors. So please take your notes. Feel free to add it in chat as well, but it's probably better when we come in the Q&A session. Elena, if you're ready.
Yes, I am. Hello, hi. You see, I was very, very surprised because our presentations haven't been aligned at all. I had this great freedom to prepare it in the way that I felt. And then you will see how I felt in a second. So I'm going to share my presentation. So thank you so much. What I'm going to... What I'm going to share with you is my personal way of looking at the customer journey. And because I've got only 15 minutes that I'm going to time, so because of this layer, okay? So this my customer journey is at glance / because customer journey, to understand the customer journey is absolutely impossible if you don't capture consumer insights. And the consumer insights that contribute to the value creation. Value creation is what you're actually trying to. What about me? So what we should expect from me within this 15 minutes? Hopefully I will be sharp 15 minutes. First of all, 26. It's not 26, it's not my age, unfortunately. So I'm much older than this. But it's this 26 years of experience in international business I've got. Obviously, within 26 years, I've changed a few industries and jobs and countries. So I lived in Russia, obviously, Switzerland, Belgium, and China. I've been working as an executive business coach at the European Commission and a lecturer for the past 7 years. So what else I would like to say that I do speak a few languages that actually do help me in my job. So another thing that I think you should understand about me, I am adept of a not fixed mindset, it's the growth mindset. I'm sure that you've all seen this many, many times. And that's why you're mostly probably here on Wednesday evening because you view challenges as opportunities, and because you acknowledge your weaknesses and acknowledge and embrace your weaknesses. So I will be sharing my presentation. If you have never seen this slide, please revisit. So I would like to look at the customer journey as a journey, right? As a journey through all three main stages of business development: ideation, development, go-to-market. Recognizing that at every stage, you've got this great touch points with your customer is very, very important. It's absolutely crucial at the stage of ideation. Well, I don't know what has been what information you have been exposed before. So I would like to remind you that the ideation is a journey from the needs of your potential customers to your innovative solution. So, and obviously at ideation stage, you look at the pain points, problems to be solved, how you create create your value for your target customers, your unique sales point. You've seen it before. I'm sure that you've seen it before. And I also hope that you have understood that the customer is boss. It's not only the main player in the customer journey, but it is almost your focus. The customer is boss. Some companies, they fail completely to recognize it. So, but you see, and then some companies actually, they've been thriving on recognizing the customer as boss. Jeff Bezos, Steve Jobs, Sam Walton, look at their net worth, Sam Walton. So I think they've done pretty well for themselves and for the company, and most probably for the world. So, but you see, I'm just saying, okay, this customer is boss, but it's so much true that if we need to satisfy the needs of the customers, right? But I would like to quote a quite famously quoted Henry Ford. If I had asked people what they want, they would have said faster horses. So this is the thing. As if you ask your customers what they want, it tries to satisfy their needs, the visible needs, right? You might not be able to innovate. So that's why it is so important not just to understand what they want, but also capture the insights. What are the insights? The insights is this very, very you should capture this very, very deep understanding of the problems that the customers face. And you should also not just understand it, but also do it timely. Look at these two pictures. So, I mean, Tesla was just in time, but St. Clair electric car, which was invented in 1985, most probably was a bit too early for the planet to admire. So getting back to this, the idea that a customer journey, and then especially important the ideation stage, and capturing the consumer insights. The consumer insights, right, to feed this customer journey, they come from all kinds of sources. You see, I won't be going into details, I would like to just show a few. So it could be marketing research, it could be customer databases, it could be user-generated content, you name it, right? You've all seen it, I'm sure, right? It could be quantitative or qualitative research also. It could be secondary data. You see, I will be sharing the presentation with you. It could be primary data, just very, very valuable. It could, let's say, structurally, you can see that, I mean, goodness, in order to capture the consumer insights that feeds the consumer journey, that gives you this valuable material to work with, is painful. Right, you will see it in the details when you have time. But I would like really to focus on the very, very beginning, at the stage 0 in your product development, at the stage when the product is still at the conception stage and you are just trying to work on the creating the value. So at this particular stage, you will be asking, how do I create value? So all my products are a solution to their problems. Is it nice have or must have? What are the pains? What are the gains? How can I create a value that actually satisfies that satisfies calm down and the pain and create a gain? So, I mean, and this stage, the very, very initial stage, the ideation stage, you can do all this great, fantastic research and then I've shown you the sources where you can actually dig this information out. But actually, nothing actually replaces deep reflection. And deep reflection at the ideation stage should come from a very, very, very simple thing. When you look at the customer jobs, so what actually customers are trying to get done in their work and their lives, in terms of emotional, functional, social jobs. I'm not going into so you can ask deep reflection. So leave it on the side, all this great research that is must. The depth of reflection on the customer job will save you a lot of time and money. What are my customers and what they do, right? What are their pains? What are the gains? And what are the gains? And then there's lots of questions that you can ask yourself. For example, in terms of to trigger questions for the customer gains, for example, which savings would make my customers happy? Which savings in terms of time, money, and efforts would they value? Or for example, how do my customers measure success and failure? How do they gauge performance or cost? And then obviously, again. And once this job is done, right, look at your product and services that you are trying to deliver and try to match how you the pains and and how your pains relieve the pains, right? And how your gain creators actually create customer gains. It can, you see, there are many tools at your disposal. I use a simple Excel spreadsheet in shared space with my customers. And it's just absolutely fantastic. You can rate it from 1 to 10. You can try to match in a way. You create the list of all the gains, all the pains, the customer jobs, important jobs. You also rate it. You create all these great gain creators that your product creates and pain relievers, right? And you try to find a perfect fit. It's I'm really just touching the top of the iceberg. There are so many things could be said on this, but it's very simple thing. And then maybe a few tips. Don't compromise. I know that, I mean, I see it on a regular basis in my job. People are so in love with the product, they become so product centric, they don't want to see the reality. But if you do all the proper research, if you do a very deep thinking, I'm sure you will be there. So a few takes away. The customer journey does start way before your product or service is created by actually doing your proper research. And I've showed you how it can be done. So customer is a boss, and also in-depth market research and understanding your customer could create the value, right? Value creation mapping is just one of the ways of capturing the customer insights and a strong start of initiating customer journey. So thank you very much. I think I am, am I good this time? Yeah, I am very good this time. So, and then, so how you can reach me? I will be setting office hours on my page. Unfortunately, I'm very, very busy. I'd love to be as helpful as possible, but I might not be able to really to give as much time as I can. But you can always reach me by email or LinkedIn, and we can always set up a quick mentoring session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Elena. Philip, over to you.
And the last one standing. And we are going to finish at past, so I am going to adapt my pitch to the remaining time. So please do feel free. Can you see my page? Yes, I can't see anybody. So I'll go ahead and start, and we'll wrap this up in 9 minutes. So thank you to my fellow mentors. I think that I owe you a bit more of an introduction, having been an entrepreneur now for the last few years, 7 years. It actually got off to a very rocky start. And for that, I need to tell you a little story of how I got to this statement. If we try to be everything to everyone, we won't be anything to anyone. You have to make the commitment to yourself to really want to stand by your own value, because the reality is that you don't have to please everyone. You don't have to be understood by everyone. And of course, you don't need to please everyone. Why am I saying this? You have got something in you. You've got value to deliver. You've got something that is going to be extraordinary, and you're going to find your market. If you have got something that is valuable to someone, and we're 8 billion people on Earth, there's someone somewhere that needs what you have. The whole point of me saying this is that because you don't have to be everything to everyone, and you don't have to please everyone, you can stick to your story. You can be determined, but you have to accept that that will come at a cost. I'd like to tell you the story of TestMyApp. So I was with a founder and one of my previous co-founders from a previous life, and we set out on a 6-month journey, and we were both spending a lot of time together. We were sitting in a dark room. I was giving him my brilliant ideas, and he was doing his brilliant coding work. So I was business and he was tech, and we weren't getting very far, but we had all of these ideas in our mind, and we thought, you know what, we're going to build it and everybody's going to buy it, because we were building an application. And just to give you a tiny bit of background, the application was when you walk past the store with geolocation, you will receive a notification that says, if you walk into this store now, you'll get 20% off ABC, whatever product that you will have set up before. And so you can imagine, and I can hear all of you cringe, and you're thinking, Jesus, what happens when you're walking past in a main street and you're getting notification after notification after notification? Everybody's going to disinstall it, except that we had not asked our consumers any questions whatsoever. And one day I must have eaten something good for breakfast, because one day I told my co-founder, yeah, well, I think that we should go and ask our consumers, our potential consumers. And so I set up an event that was called Test My App for myself. And I bought a few beers, I bought a few crisps, and I went about organizing this event just with 10 people that I knew. And I invited all of my most critical friends, and they turned around and they completely destroyed me. They annihilated me. And when I say annihilated, I mean, I was on the edge of tears, because basically that was 6 months of work down the toilet just because I had asked a few simple questions. Well, this is where you need to start. The reason why Test My App is a real thing today, by the way, we can talk about that some other time. Test My App is a real thing because now I have specialized in asking better questions. The reason why I can now confidently say that I am really good at asking good questions is because I've spent so much time thinking about what life looks like from my user's perspective. And this is my invitation to you. Think about your consumer, not how you want them to be, but how your consumers actually think. And you need to challenge absolutely everything about what you think. Now, when I say asking better questions, it doesn't mean that you're necessarily wrong about everything. It does mean that you need to challenge all of your assumptions. Now, when I say challenge all of your assumptions, we're going to cover a few questions here that Orkun was very, the Founder Institute was very kind to provide us with, so that you can walk away with something tangible. By the way, thank you very much to my fellow mentors, because I was going to talk about design thinking, and I was going to talk specifically about the empathy map. So I invite you all, and because my fellow mentors spend some time on that, I won't spend any time on that. Type in empathy map into Google, you'll find templates, use them. Now, to answer this question, how do I identify real customers and ensure that they have a real problem? Well, exactly like I did in the beginning, have the courage to have those face-to-face meetings with people and ask the questions, and try and not activate your confirmation bias, but try and get to know those initial people. When I say those initial people, I mean that you can build yourself a network of 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, ideally about 100 people that you reach out to whilst you are developing whatever it is you're developing, a product, a tool, a platform, a website, an app, whatever it is. You can reach out via Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, wherever you find them. You need to go out and find yourself 100 people so that you can have them as your initial cohort. You can go through all of your buyer personas, and I encourage you to put those together, classify them, and understand who it is you're actually solving a problem for and what kind of value this brings for them. Now, when we say a real problem, you need to try and understand by asking questions if this is a real pain for them. And by pain, I mean, are you prepared to pay money to solve this problem? If you are not prepared to pay money, it's not a big enough pain. What are the best tactics to identify target customers and encourage them to be interviewed? By engaging in real conversations with real people, i.e. quite literally spending 15, 20, 30 minutes on the phone with somebody. Of course, now your question is going to be, how do I get them on the phone? Once you have started creating that initial cohort of 100 people, you will be able to set up regular interviews with them, but you don't get to 100 without going through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, when you've met that first one, who do you know that has this problem? Can you recommend somebody that I can get in touch with? Invariably, everybody knows 2 or 3 people who can be brought on board. Now, the tactics, if need be, you can organize events like I did on Test My App, but you can also incentivize people. And yes, this might cost you a bit of money sometimes, either with gift cards, Amazon vouchers, It can be Spotify, whatever. You can use monetary incentives, but that's not necessarily always obligatory. I apologize, I am getting a drink. So, how do you know if people are telling you the truth or just being polite? The reality is that if you're solving a real problem for them, people will start to engage emotionally in the problem that you are solving for them. Ooh, I've got 1 minute and 30 seconds left. If they engage at a sorry, if they engage at an emotional level, you know that they are telling the truth. If they give you more information, you know that they are telling the truth. How do you identify, test, and validate all of your assumptions in your customer interviews? You need, at the beginning, you need to actually write all of your assumptions down. If you're a team, I very much encourage you to actually go through the exercise of writing your assumptions down. I assume that my client does X, Y, Z. I assume that they behave like this, that they want this. You would be amazed within your team, everybody has assumptions that they assume that everybody else has. So if you're a team of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, get everybody independently to write all of their assumptions down and then compare them. There's no point in lying to yourself. Be honest with yourself. I've got 30 seconds to finish. How do you know when we are focused on a good or a bad idea and when you should abandon it? The reality is that if you do actually get that response from people, and if you interview 100 people and 75 people say, this is a real painkiller for me, and I would like to pay money for you to solve this problem, 75% response rate, you're pretty sure that you've got something good. If you've only got one person responding, obviously you're onto something crap. Now, my last closing point in the last few seconds, please know and understand your own value, because that really will be a lifesaver for you. Remember, you don't have to be everything to everyone, or you won't be anything to anyone. Thank you very much for your time. I am Philip Grother. You can connect with me, preferably during the office hours. I've already set some up over the next few months. If need really be, you can contact me via LinkedIn, like some of you have, or by email as an absolute last resort. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Philip. And yeah, thanks for showing up as well. I actually didn't know about your voice. I hope you're all right. And of course, thank you very much, Elena and Idea as well. Like, without wasting time, jumping into questions, please raise your hands. I have 5 notes. I see Aurelian. Go ahead.
Yeah, so first of all, thanks to you three for this great presentation. I've got a question which may be more for Idea or maybe for Elena. As you said, there is a lot of bias that are possible. In my specific case, the problem I'm solving was a problem I had during my previous work experience. So the question I'm asking myself is how the fact that this problem was my problem before can affect my view of the way the other customers are seeing it. So basically, I'm running a SaaS business in which we are trying to eradicate fraud from advertisement, and I don't want to be to have bias. In fact, by the fact that that was my own problem, I solved it my way, and I want to be sure that I am really hearing my customers, and even though they are having exactly the same problem, I'm just not copy paste what I did and what I lived in their problem. So how can you have strategies to be sure that you don't have the bias of knowing the problem by yourself?
Okay, thank you, Aurelio. Good question. So you've kind of answered the question. The answer is somewhere in that question, because as you said, you are scratching your own itch. You are solving a problem that you experienced yourself. Question is, do you want to build a business? If you want to build a business off the back of that solution, then you need to get to the mental place where you are no longer, quote unquote, personally invested in that solution because you solved it for yourself. You need to be pursuing this solution because you have validated that there are, for instance, 100,000 people like you in a certain area, or 3 million people like you in a certain area, blah, blah, blah. I mean, the specific number that makes sense for the business isn't, would depend on the business and would depend on you, but that's research or that going out to find people that are experiencing the pain like you is the meat. So I'm looking at something on my wall right now. It's called, it's just a scribbling that I have on the wall. It's called the Pain Opportunity Matrix. Do we have a few minutes, Okun? Can we quickly go to Google Jamboard? Okay, I'm going to have to share my screen. And I apologize for taking so much time. Jamboard. Okay. Sorry, I've done this quite a number of times. So let me just use someone else's own, and then we can duplicate it. Okay. Come on. What can you see? Can you see? Can someone just tell me what you see? Okay. I'm going to and I will send this link to Okun for sharing later on. Just create a new one. Okay. So just to quickly scribble this, think about an X and a Y axis. And I understand that not all brains are configured for mathematics. Oh my God, that's a horrible line. Okay, let me do this. All right. I understand that not all brains are configured for mathematical things, but think of this as a two-axis thing. So this is your pain, okay, your pain axis, and it starts from 0 to 10, okay? Somewhere here is a 5, somewhere here is a 7. Oh, maybe that's not a 7, maybe that's a 7.5, whatever that is. Somewhere here is a 2. Generally speaking, you are, so this is called the pain meter, okay? Just like if you've had a surgery recently and your doctor is asking you, hey, ID, you came out of the surgery operating room 2 days ago. How, on a scale of 1 to 10, is your pain today? So you want to visualize, you want to ask your customers to visualize the pain, the problem that they are experiencing, and just give you a sense of how severe it is. So actually that's pain severity. So if generally speaking, you get a 2/10, you already know that this is a minor irritation in their lives. However, if you get a 7/10 and above, then those are good problems. So if you found out that, if you asked yourself, okay, that for you to solve this problem, it was a 7/10 for you, or it was a 6.5/10, or it was a 9/10, you are looking for X million people. And that's what this other side, the horizontal axis, does for you, okay? So this is the market size. You're looking for hundreds of thousands of people who have this problem at that level. That helps you justify the business decision to go all in. Did I answer the question? I'm sorry I took so much time.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Elena, Philip, do you have anything to add?
Well, most probably I will go in a very traditional way. If you feel like it's my pain, and I think I'm not objective 100%, I will go through a lot of testing stages and then try to create as many partnerships as possible. It can be, it's a very, very simple thing, but I think this is the thing that works. If you have a bit of marketing budget, obviously I will even, but it's always the way to create partnership or pay people to use your solution. So, but I would definitely go in a very traditional way. Media listening is a very, very valuable tool. Media listening.
Okay. Thank you so much, also, Elena, for your answer.
Thank you. Philip, anything from your side? I cannot see it.
No, please. Please, let's take another question because we've taken quite a bit on this one.
Sure. Any other hands? Fabrice.
Yes, thank you, Elena. And ID, I'm also like Elena. Previously, I was working as a technical lead for an insurance sector company, and I faced some pain regarding the collaboration, and I think that my brain is almost stuck in trying to solve that kind of issues. And one thing you said, ID, was like to take things one by one. So maybe in the prototyping phases, to try to solve one problem by one. And another thing that Elena said that was very interesting was, hearing from the customer, so having this customer insight that maybe help you drive and take the right path. So while building a business, how do you put these two together? Because I'm wondering if sometimes I'm not putting too much effort on something that cannot be sold broadly, or have the audience that will make my company go fast. Thank you.
Okay, so I mean, I'm gonna say ladies first, but should I? Okay, all right. So I'm not sure that I got the question. Just in case let me try and rephrase, and please confirm that I got the question right or wrong. Your question is, how do you confirm that, just like Aurelien asked, how do you confirm that you can find many more people like you who are experiencing that problem? Is that the question?
No. The question is more like, is it always good to focus on one specific problem? Than maybe trying to have a generic solution that would solve many others.
Okay. All right. So the answer to that question is beyond customer development. Like I said, I have seen it in the FI curriculum, and I know that many founders have described that it's there. Maybe you are not there yet. So there are two core principles that you're going to come across that are related to this topic. There's the rule of one, which is what I showed earlier. And then there's the T-shaped solution design. They're related. The rule of one says build one solution, for one specific problem for a specific segment of your customer base, and activate one revenue stream for it. And there's a reason for that. Now, all of us, because we are ideators, our brains, the neurons in our brains are firing at 10,000, whatever units of speed. We are really, thinking of ideas all the time. We all have, great ideas. However, there is a place for disciplining yourself to marshal all of the resources that you have and concentrate it on one vector, one direction at the beginning. Okay. Now, we are not saying that you are not saying no to every other outlet or every other aspect or every other product service that you release under that big solution name later on. You're saying at the outset, there's a lot of barriers you have to cross. You have to cross the trust barrier. People don't trust you yet. If you use that one solution to cross that trust barrier, when you bring the other ones later, it's like a pipe. Okay, so you are definitely working in your own best interest whenever you streamline your efforts and go as narrow as possible in the beginning. Okay, like I said, it's there are two topics that are big, and you can expand them many ways. Did I answer the question?
Thank you. Yes.
Philip, Elena, do you have anything to add?
Sure, yeah.
Go ahead.
No.
Just one remark. You mentioned that you've got already 3,000 customers using your solution. Another way of is to add features one by one and validate them gradually. And this you're focusing not only on one, like, okay, you're focusing on one stream of revenue, but also you're introducing gradually more features, and you test them straight away with already a core customer base. Hope it helps.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you very much, Elena. So I understand.
Something that you might want to consider is Pareto. It's going to be 20% of your features that create 80% of your value on the feature side. And on your customer side, it's going to be 20% of your customers that generate 80% of the value. So looking at your numbers, looking at your engagement, and by engagement, if you've got an application, if you've got a website, if you've got anything that is digital, you should be tracking absolutely everything. And because you're tracking it, you can actually see, okay, these are the users. Let's say you've got 100 users. Which are the 20 users that are the most engaged? Those are the people that you're going to go and have a one-on-one conversation with. You get in touch with them individually. You say, you know, I'm the CEO, founder, you know, use all the brass. I'd like to take you out for dinner. I'd like to have a coffee with you. I'd like to sit down. I'd like to set up a Zoom meet or whatever. But you get to know them, and you get to know them intimately, right? Color of the underwear, everything, because you want to know them inside out. The real driver for all of these questions is, what value are you delivering to these people? Why are you buying from me? If you've got users, why are you buying from me, right? Why are you buying my solution? It's not a question of, well, that's nice, you're buying my solution, thank you very much. It's, I want to understand of all of the solutions that are out there. And you can, this is a real question that you can ask. Of all of the solutions that are out there, why did you choose me, right? And also, if we had a magic wand and we could make anything appear, what in our solution could we improve to make it more valuable for you? Let's imagine that it's not a question of money. If you, as soon as you remove money out of it and you only talk about value, and this is something that I will drive home again and again and again, the more you talk about value to your customers and what's actually valuable to them, the more they will say, shit, this guy actually cares. This is not just trying to sell me something. Now, that's a trick that I found during the Test My App in the Test My App events, is that I wasn't trying to sell anything when I was recuperating feedback. I was only trying to understand the people. Elena, you had something to say. You'll have to unmute yourself if you want to talk.
Yes, I've lost myself. No, it's very valuable, it's absolutely valuable feedback. So data is so important, right? And gathering data is so important. And when you're jump on every opportunity to gather data is so important. And then if your solution generates data, right? Again, I'm stating on the same idea that if you introduce one by one, you will have this data how people use it, how successful, do they get back to the solution again and again? Do they recommend it to the friends? So it's super, super important. And also what Philip has said, intimate relationship with your customers. Yes, it is very much possible, but it's very much time consuming. So I don't know how feasible it is, but so much true that it could create extraordinary value for the business.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the question, Fabrice. I see a couple of hands. I'm cautious of time as well, Hakan. So we want to close on time and respect time at 9 p.m. So let's take these questions. And I see Hakan change locations all the way for during the session.
Hi there. I'm not in the car anymore because actually the traffic was no longer the issue. Plus Zoom kept on crashing actually with the public Wi-Fi. Anyways, could I ask related to the pitch and or how, because I'm going to be pitching this to potential customers anyways. So the question is how to introduce a concept that doesn't exist without dumbing down the solution too much, but also not quote making anyone feel stupid. So that's kind of like a dilemma I'm going through. And I'd like any insights you could give on that.
If I may take the first response on that,
please.
So, of course, when I said that, it was definitely provocative earlier on. And then in my pitch, I said, you can't be everything to everyone and you don't have to please everyone. So indirectly, your response to me could be like, well, if you don't like my pitch, it doesn't actually matter because you're not necessarily the person I'm going to be talking with. So this is something that we're going to cover, and we're talking about this at the moment with Orkun. We will also have a dedicated session for pitching, and that will be in the new year. But one thing is that you're always adapting your pitch to your audience. So
right.
when you have people in front of you,
may I add one thing? The pitch that I made is actually directly from my Y Combinator YC application and my Andreessen Horowitz application, which I'm trying to do at the moment. So by nature, it's very technical. But I see that for a general audience, it shouldn't be that. So obviously, spot on.
Yeah. So when you're talking with a technical audience, so maybe for a tiny bit of background, I help people with their pitch, right? That's kind of what I do for a living, okay? Which is why I'm so adamant on the pitching side. The thing is that when you've got an audience of people who are clearly non-technical, who are not in the industry, you want to try and find an example that is going to resonate with them. Now, when you say that something doesn't exist, absolutely doesn't exist, I would challenge that. There's always a parallel.
It does exist in Airbnb format, for example.
If you could let me finish.
Yeah.
If you could let me finish.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't find a direct example, let's say you take Airbnb, you can take an analogy, right? Or you can make a parallel, something that's just easier to understand. Okay. Now, when we say don't make your audience feel stupid, it's if you're going to talk about one thing, you can focus on that one thing. And this actually answers the question from earlier on as well. What we mustn't do is try and deliver absolutely everything. Okay. For example, I work with researchers, and researchers, they want to be scientifically super accurate, which I understand. When you're presenting in front of an audience, you want to drive one point home. If you want to talk about blockchain, that's fine. If you want to talk about another point, that's fine. Just don't talk about everything. Okay. Now, in your pitch, and I appreciate that it's a difficult exercise, just choose the one most important thing, the one most important message that you want to put across, and only focus on that. Like that, you can develop that with a bit of depth. Instead of giving us all of the jargon, you take one thing and you dig deep. And in your pitch, you can say, this is one of the 7 items that we are, but I will choose to focus on this. And it can be, that's like 3 seconds, okay? So because you're always adapting your pitch to your audience, that means, and I'm afraid to say, that you have got as many pitches as you have audiences. Now, if typically you're going to be talking in front of an investor, you're not going to talk about the same thing as in front of a customer or a partner or even a colleague, right? So you're going to take the most important thing and you're just going to serve that up on a plate that in a way that is easy to understand. Because if you try and flex your intellectual muscles in front of everybody else and give all of the jargon, then you just lose your audience, and then there's nothing that we can hang on to, because the point of a pitch is to start a conversation. It's not to end a conversation. But you know, we'll definitely work on this together, and yeah, I do look forward to hearing more about it.
Yeah, just on that one, and cautious of time again, Hakan and everyone else, of course, like specific about going deeper on these, like please book office hours. So as Philip mentioned, we have pitching discussions as well, but I think it's a good opportunity. And maybe I encourage everyone to pitch to your mentors in the office hours as well. Maybe as an introduction, especially in the 60 seconds, you know, not later on 5 minutes or maybe to eat time, but like 60 seconds is a good introduction. Hey, my name is X, and let me quickly pitch and get your feedback. That's a good intro potentially. I don't know if you had something.
Orkun, if I could actually add to that, remember that you're not the only ones that will be mentoring, and please don't take it personally if we don't remember exactly what you do. So as a general rule, in fact, Orkun, I would actually recommend that you start every mentoring session with a 60-second pitch. Not that the whole session becomes about the pitch, but that you just get used to delivering a better pitch again and again and again. I really do recommend that to you all, because you can never practice enough.
Yeah. Hakan, if you don't mind, I'll take the last question since it's customer development focus, hopefully as well. Saif.
Okay, let's just yeah, very quick question, very easy, very simple. So it is just when you interview people and you have bad feedbacks from people, is it the problem with the problem that you are trying to solve? It is not really a problem, or you just presented and marketed the solution poorly? And so which one is? So is it about the problem itself, or it is also probably it is in the Hakan question he asked it. Sometimes when you give also the pitch, not only when you interview people or you give feedback, it is also about if the problem is the thing that you are trying to solve, you should not solve this problem, you should just move on to something else, or you didn't present it well, or you just marketed poorly or talked to the wrong people about it. How can we know, how we can see what is happening?
My fellow mentors.
If I get that question right, that sounds like you are asking that how can you detect in real time what your audience is reacting to? Is that kind of like the question?
Well, more or less, it's about how to know if I am talking to the wrong audience, or it is just we didn't present the solution to the right people, or we presented in the wrong way. Sometimes just we speak wrongly about the idea. That's
perfect. So this question is more about pitching than about customer development, right? Yeah. So to answer that directly, the only way to get that intuition is through practice. Well, the only way that I can recommend is through practice. I think it was Orkun that made the point earlier on. I can't remember exactly who did it. That the more you practice, the more you you get a sense for how people are reacting to you and what they are reacting to. So take for instance, you are pitching, right? And you are going off on a certain tangent. If your eyes are trained on your audience, you can, to a large degree, detect if you are making a connection or not. If you need to slow down and explain a certain concept or abandon a certain concept altogether and use another analogy that perhaps is more culturally, similar or, proximate and so on and so forth. So in as much as we're talking about pitching, then proficiency in pitching comes by practice. You will do it in front of the mirror, you will do it in front of friends and family, you will do it in front of strangers, just to get that sense. Okay. I hope I've been able to answer it a bit. I'd like to hear from Elena and Philip.
I understood.
I think,
well, it's
sorry, go ahead, Elena. No, I just want to clarify, Saif, was your question about pitching or interview? I thought it was about interview, but I may have misunderstood that.
Well, it is about both. So if you interview or you pitch, it's like even when you ask question when you're interviewing, probably you do it in the wrong way. So
sure, Elena, sorry, over to you.
No, I have understood the question. So you're presenting your idea to the wrong people. So if these people are not your target audience, obviously the feedback will be very different from the people, and the value will be different from if you get feedback from the people who are your target audience. I think a selection of the people that you present to is very, very, very important. And reflection of what this feedback was from what kind of people this feedback was coming, was the value. But if you get feedback, negative feedback from your target audience, I would really question it.
So if I may add, just to kind of like summarize, the entire object, right? The entire objective of the customer development series of exercises is to learn from the customer, the potential customer, is to imbibe, as it were, a sense of what are the things that are important to this customer segment, this customer archetype, this persona. Okay, so in a sense, from your question, if you are pitching your ideas about a solution, then you're not doing it right. So when you come to that interaction, whether it's an interview face-to-face or it's a web camera, Zoom thing, or it's any other type of medium, you are there to imbibe, to understand the customer's worldview. And that understanding is hopefully more important than presenting and validating what it is that you have in mind might be important to the customer. I don't know if that's, that salient point. I just thought I needed to say that. All right, thank you.
Philip, do you have anything to add?
It's all about the value that you're adding to the person. And if you're actually having an interaction with the person, as in an actual conversation, if that person is engaging at an emotional level with the problem that you're trying to solve for them, they will give you feedback. And if whether that feedback is positive or negative, I do apologize. If that feedback is positive, great, that's fantastic, but there's not much that you can learn from positive feedback. Look for negative feedback, look for things that you can improve. Negative feedback, you might actually be able to learn something from negative feedback. Again, if they are engaging with you and your solution in a meaningful way, then you might actually have real conversations, and it depends on how. Don't take the feedback personally. just try and learn as much as you can and extract as much value as you can out of that conversation. On that note, it's 9:04, Orkun.
We are closing, yeah, I know. Just before we close, bridging one thing, actually, one of the things we are doing kind of on purpose in the feedback sessions being one way is giving you the opportunity to learn to listen as well. And not only feedback, but I think, again, I'm force bridging with the customer development. That's also an opportunity to listen to your customers, similar to listen to the feedback without actually, having immediate reaction to sell or explain yourself or whatever. Name it with the mentors right now. It's an opportunity, it's a different thing, but with the customers as well, listening it, not selling it or pushing for your idea or advice on that. Saying that, I know we are over time, so I truly thank you, Elena, ID, Philip, appreciate your time as always and sharing your insight and tips. And founders, we'll see you next week. And you know how to find our mentors as well. Please book time. Any questions, you know where to find us. So have a lovely evening, everyone. And Arno, you have a new team member over there, I can see. See you all.